up, guys? This is Shotmaster, aka the Gray Beard Gamer, here with my daughter Kaylin and my son Ray. I'm back from LA, and I know they're about to get in the camera and mess everything up. My son's about to dab. I don't know why my daughter has a fork hanging from her mouth. She was actually born that way, and she's kind of like, you know, we're working with her. We love her anyways because she's special. So guys, I appreciate y'all watching the video. Make sure you check out the interview that I had with John White covering Madden NFL 17. And guys, we out of here. I'm out.
Peace.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Shotmaster, aka the Gray Beard Gamer, here with John White, owner of CFM. He's going to take full ownership for all of the great stuff that we're getting for CFM. John, I just have a couple of questions for you from the community. How is commentary affected in CFM? I mean, we've been hearing the game all week long. It sounds great, but how does that tie into CFM?
Yeah, we're really excited about having this new commentary team and the access we have for them. You know, previous years we would set up all the commentary that we would get for that year earlier in the year, and we were kind of locked in. This year, and being able to access those guys on a regular basis, we're able to, you know, as the year unfolds and we're developing these features and figuring out what we're delivering, we're able to make adjustments and get more commentary to talk about franchise mode specifically. So, you know, a lot of these actions you're doing as a coach are actually going to be represented by the commentary team, which is something that, you know, it's a really big jump in immersion when you're playing the mode, hearing the commentators talk about things that you're doing off the field. So that it's a really big change. So things like re-signings mentioned, injuries, and like the lingering injury system, like all the choices that you're making in the front end, like a lot of them are being spoken about. Even like training, like the train choices you make, and if you have a big play, they'll say, you know, something to the effect of, oh, I saw them work on this in the practice field. Like it just creates that immersion. So we're really excited about the new direction of commentary, and I think it's going to really be great for the franchise mode moving forward.
Yeah, now, one of the things that I was thinking about is generated players. Is there any chance that the commentators will be able to maybe sometime down the line be able to sort of try to get more names in so generated players can be talked about?
Yep, it's definitely, you know, high on our list of things we want to get in. And yeah, but it's not in currently. But when you're playing the mode, they designed it in such a way that it's not an immersion breaking, that it's not there. You know, it feels good still, but getting those extra details is what really layers on and makes it really, you know, can improve the experience. So we're definitely looking to add that in the future.
All right. One of the other aspects, I feel like you guys have really streamlined a lot of the processes in Madden, and talk about free agency. There was a lot of talk in the community. I had somebody ask me, what are the numbers beside the green line when you're bidding for a free agent? What does that mean?
Okay, so in the off season, when you're doing free agent bidding and you submit your offer, that offer is combined into a point system. So based on the contract amount, the length of it, and some other extra factors based on the team that you're using, whether the player likes that team or not. There's some factors that go into that, and that all of that bundles up into a point. So once you put your bid in, you will see your team stacked up how it's rated versus the other teams. So just because you're at the top of the list doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be the one that's taken. But, you know, if you want to get that player really bad, you want to be at the top of the list with the most points, you know, and get that big point spread.
Let's talk about the ticker. A lot of people are loving the ticker. It looks good. Will the commentators say anything about the ticker, or is that like something separate?
No, similar to what I mentioned earlier, it's something that we've talked about, something we really want to get in. It's not in currently, but you know, it's something we want to add.
Cool. Let's talk about dev traits and the dynamic dev traits. One of the things that I really like is that, you know, things can go up and down during the season. You can have a guy that start off with superstar dev, and he won't stay for superstar dev all year long if he doesn't meet his goals. Can you talk about it? Is it all goals on whether they meet their keep their dev traits?
So goals, or the dev trait goes up, and then they also can come down. So the way they go up is weekly awards, which there's a smaller chance. But if you get a yearly award like MVP or Offensive Rookie of the Year, there's a lot bigger chance of the dev trait going up. So what goes up must come down, because we want to keep a balanced league with the same number of superstars year 1 as year 10. That's what we really strive for. So at the end of the season, if you've got a superstar and he's not meeting his season goals, there's a chance for him to drop down. So it comes down during season goals, and it goes up throughout the year based on weekly goals or end of year awards.
All right, I have a couple of questions from the community. One was, what is the difficulty with the draft board and creating a draft board? Just give some insight on that.
So it's a complicated process. It speaks into a lot of our systems we have. And if you think about fantasy football, for example, when you set up your draft board in fantasy football, like, you don't want to draft 3 quarterbacks in the first 3 rounds, right? You have those extra settings where you could say you only want 1 quarterback or 2 quarterbacks, and so there's a lot of logic that can go into making that feature good. And so to get the feature that I think everyone's wanting, it takes more time. And also the evaluation logic, has to know, because you have your team needs, and so that will have to be weighed into it too. So, the draft goes crazy in the sense of you never know who's going to take who. And so you'd pretty much have to add the whole league to your draft board, because you're not going to know who's going to be there. So it's a complicated feature, something we want, but it's just not in yet.
Okay. All right, my next question is, when it comes to the last year, you guys patched in the ability to modify XP. Is that still in there for commissioners to use if they want their players to have more XP when they do their drills?
Yes, it definitely is, and it's also in there for offline franchise too. Okay. So the patch, we added for online, but in this game it'll actually be in both.
The other thing, let's talk about the drills. How many drills are in there? Because I remember playing it earlier, and there were tons of drills, and they cover every position group available, right? Correct? How many drills do we have in game planning?
It's about 50. About 50 drills, which is a lot of drills. I mean, you think you have about 16 weeks of games, or 17 weeks total, but 16 games. And so you're gonna not really see the same drill. If you want to, get gold in all of them, you don't have to see the same drill even during a season.
Another question from the community was, can you sign practice mode guys more than a year, or you have to just sign them for a year and then extend their contract?
So you sign them for a year, and then at the end of the season, they're signed into your team. So that way they carry over with you into the preseason. Because it'd be worse if the contract runs out and then they're gone, and then you lose track of them. And you're like, wait, where's my practice squad guy? So we just sign them at the end of the season, and then during preseason they're already on your team, and then you can cut them and do everything you want to do at that point.
All right, one last question. There was a question about full player editing. Everybody is loving full player editing. Is that just a commissioner only tool, or what can the coach edit and what can the commissioner edit?
It's a good question. We have matrices of showing like what each ability, what each role can unlock. So I don't want to speak without referencing it, specifics, but what's guiding.
Can you pass that on to me so I can pass it on?
It's definitely something we're gonna get out to everyone so everyone can see that stuff. But just from a high level standpoint, we didn't want to remove any of the functionality that non-commissioners had previously. So things that you could like position, right? Those are things that coaches could always edit, and we wanted to make sure that stayed there. And the commissioner gets the extra stuff that could, mess up the league, give them that competitive advantage. We don't want to let those guys have it.
All that stuff is in the transaction log right now. Everything is in the transaction log this year, right?
So the transaction log, anytime a player gets edited by the commissioner, it will show up in the transaction log of this player was edited by this gamer tag or this PSN ID. So you'll be able to keep track. If you go in the transaction log and you see your shady commissioner with a bunch of updates to all of his team, you're like, okay, I know what's going on there. You can, call him out on it. And hopefully you don't have to be in a league with a shady commissioner. Your commish should be the guy that's like, he should be the upstanding guy. Of your group of friends, he needs to be, the best one, right? Yeah.
All right, John, I appreciate you answering our questions. This is Shopmaster signing off at EA Play.